you.
Doors opening. Virtually booked.
तो अभी ये जो है यहाँ से एंट्री और एग्जिट की बैरियर गेट सिस्टम है। वहाँ से आओ तो आपको स्कैन करके आना पड़ेगा, यहाँ से जाओ तो स्कैन करके नहीं जाना। लोग आ चुके हैं अभी UOttawa में। और अभी हम देखेंगे कि हमें एक्चुअली में जाना कहाँ है। पता नहीं चल रहा है कि जाना कहाँ पर है, क्योंकि हमारा मैप कुछ बता नहीं रहा है किधर जाना है किधर नहीं जाना है। बट लेट्स कीप वॉकिंग, वी कैन नो फ्रॉम हियर वेयर एम आई, डजंट शो वेयर एम आई। से हमें राइट लेना है. What we'll do is we'll reboot the phone, and from there we'll start mapping our location. We're back on track, and we can see Templeton there. वहाँ पर चीज़ ये है कि I'm a Carleton student and I'm also allowed to take courses in UOttawa क्योंकि it's a joint program. So I have 2 ID cards now, Carleton and UOttawa. If you ask me, I like UOttawa a little lesser than Carleton. But UOttawa की लड़कियाँ कमाल की है. ये तो एक सामने से आ रही है, पता नहीं है कि भी नहीं. हमें ARC 361 में जाना है. तो एडवांस रिसर्च कॉम्प्लेक्स यहाँ पे आ चुका है. और वाओ, दिस इज क्रेजी. मेरे पीछे में जो बिल्डिंग है क्रेजी बिल्डिंग है, और जो मेरे पीछे में बिल्डिंग है हमें वहाँ पे जाना है. ARC एडवांस रिसर्च कॉम्प्लेक्स. तो अभी रोड क्रॉस करेंगे. फाइनली रोड क्रॉस कर दिया है, एंड दिस इज 25. Hi, do you know where's ARC361?
It's the third floor. This is the second floor. You have to go one level up.
One more?
Yeah.
Thank you. बढ़िया है, जगह तो बढ़िया है। ऊपर कहाँ से जाना है वो नहीं पता चल रहा। आई थिंक लेफ्ट लेनी पड़ेगी। तो ये बाजू में इट्स अ पावर प्लांट आई गेस, बिकॉज बॉयलर रूम लिखा हुआ है। बॉयलर का काम ही क्या है, हीट जनरेट करके पावर जनरेट करना। This is out of orange. भाई इतनी बड़ी लिफ्ट देखी कभी? यहाँ पे आराम से 2 लोग सो सकते हैं, इतनी बड़ी लिफ्ट है। कितनी बड़ी, कितनी बड़ी। और सिर्फ पूरे लिफ्ट में मैं अकेला हूँ। Oh, I thought it's just 5 minutes. Anyways, so should I like do a quick presentation, or should I continue with the 20 minutes limit?
Well, you have your 20 minutes, but if you happen to speed up a bit, it would be helpful.
Okay, I'll do that. Alright, so today's topic for my presentation is the feasibility study of charging infrastructure in EV. My name is Natan Panchari, and this is the flow of the presentation. We'll be starting with type of electric vehicles, the charging station, the types. Majorly, I'm focusing more on the charging methods and the levels described by international standards by Europe and North America. And I'll be also discussing the methods of charging they use, the connectors, and I'll conclude in this presentation, and more in-depth report can be found in my term paper. So we have like basically 3 to 4 types of electric vehicles. First is hybrid HEVs, PHEVs, and BEVs. The main difference between all these three is that the HEVs and PHEVs has gasoline, and while the BEVs are only meant for rechargeable plug-in rechargeable batteries. We could see Toyota Prius having HEV from late 1990s to early 2000s. We have like 35 make and models in PHEV, and we currently have all BEV, which is it starts from Hyundai to Tesla. There's one more segment of electric vehicles which is called an EREV, which stands for extended range, which has IC engine enough to power your vehicle to lead you to any nearest charging station in terms of emergencies. Well, the main important thing we need to know is EVSE, which is an electric vehicle supply equipment. It's generally but nothing but a protocol which uses a two-way communication between the charger and the car, which can also prevent from damages to the battery and electrical short circuits. It also detects some hardware faults as well. It's just a protocol. We'll see further in the next slides that the charging stations are divided into 2 types of charging, which is an AC charging and DC charging. This is a block diagram of our charging station, which generally every electric vehicle is to have an on-board charger for slow charging and AC charging, whereas when you're going for a public DC charging, fast DC charging station, it takes a large power from the DC charging, and it's capable to integrate with the renewable and the general grid. Whereas in AC charging, it is only possible to charge through your private charging or some public charging which supports AC charging. It has a limited power supply and gives a low charging speed. Well, there are 2 types of also charging types, which are onboard and offboard charging. The main difference between the onboard charger and offboard charger is that it's this block diagram, that there's in both of this scenario, the power flow is in like single unidirection, and the signal flow is in bidirection, because we need
that thing labeled BSO or something.
DSO.
Oh no, it's cables. I thought it was
it's
PV.
No, it's just
It's the grid.
Yeah, it's the grid. Yeah. So it generally has an onboard charger which includes the filter, rectifier, DC-DC converter, the protection unit, and the BMS, it's inside the electric vehicle, where you get a single or 3-phase supply from the grid, which includes with the protection unit. So
What do they use as the rectifiers?
sorry,
What do they use as the rectifiers?
why do they use
No, what do they use as the rectifiers?
as rectifiers? They use it's inside the BMS, so
You don't know.
no.
I just wondered if it was switching, the switching rectifier, so it's synchronized to the waveform, or whether it's actually using power rectifiers, which would of course get hot.
I think it's I think it's power rectifiers.
Yes, the simplest and inefficient.
And
It's quite something to rectify high power AC.
sorry,
It's quite challenging to rectify
high power AC. Yeah. And the protection unit is already on the EV car kit, and the rest of the things on onboard charger is inside the charging station and not in the electric vehicle. And yeah, so charging can be also classified in conductive charging and wireless charging. And my term paper, I'm focusing more on just the conductive charging. Wireless could be a future scope.
Well, wireless is not going to be useful for cars.
Cannot be used. I have read up a paper in which they were discussing wireless charging for trucks and all those heavy public transport, commercial vehicles. It was quite like I was not about to touch on that topic because it had something with the tires. They were reinventing the wheel of the car and using something inside the tires. I was like, this is something way beyond the scope.
Well, the trouble is, in principle, maybe you can do it. If you have two resonators and you put them close to each other, and the fields don't go anywhere else except between the two resonators, then you could manage to get 100% of the power across. But most of these wireless things, you're just taking something that doesn't need much power, and you're sticking it somewhere, and you're losing a lot of the energy in that field elsewhere.
Right. Like wireless charging has majorly the losses as compared to conductive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if it was really high power and you were really trying to make it efficient, you'd start making yourself a kind of directed weapon.
And I believe also when if we are trying to do it while on the go, it's too tough. But there were papers I went through which
they want to do something to the roads, so that
they have to like redesign every the road structures. Anyways, so
I mean, it's bad enough at the moment. I mean, it's a sort of planning blight. I've got a 20-year-old Volvo now, and a 13-year-old, no, 14-year-old Honda. And people say, why didn't you get a new car? And I'm saying, well, if I got a new car, it really ought to be an EV. But have you seen any of the charging stations around?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a neighbour who has his own charging station because his
own charging station.
Because he has PV panels on his house.
Yeah.
And he uses his Tesla as the energy storage container.
Yes.
Effectively.
Yeah.
So
it could be done. Yeah.
He also puts power back on the grid.
But
you know, but his Tesla batteries is the thing that really stores the energy for him.
That could be done as like V2G and G2V when we want to store the energy and we can use it during the peak power. So yeah, it's doable. I also went through some of the papers which describe V2G communications and storage of.
But the only places I've seen charging is at the what do you call them? People who sell cars. You know, in their service centres, they have a big plug, you know, for their own, because they're trying to sell these cars. But I haven't seen anywhere else.
The big plugs?
Yeah.
I believe it's in a connector. Is it a connector? Like
well, no, what I'm saying is if you go to a normal gas station,
you don't see
any of that.
Yeah. Right. Right.
There's no extensive infrastructure.
Right.
And I know it's going to be a chicken and egg problem.
Yes. It is exactly a
You'll
chicken
need
and egg.
you'll need a lot of demand to motivate the infrastructure
Structure,
being put in place. But without the infrastructure in place, it will dampen demand.
Right. That's what we were working on. Like I was working in India as like business development for an electric vehicle company. It was a two-wheeler mobility company. So we were trying to place hyperchargers for our scooters everywhere near the gas station, but it was a quite challenging task because how are you gonna discuss? We have to map the whole area and we have to see how many scooters are there. And it's still a chicken and egg question because first you have to have scooters in the market and people won't buy the scooters because they don't have the charging infrastructure. So it's like either this or that. It's like a trade-off you have to make. Anyways, but yeah. Let's get back to a type of chargers which I've majorly discussed in this presentation is the AC charging and the DC charging. Well, AC charging has two standards. One is European and one is the States. The ICE identifies as the modes of charging, whereas USA says it's levels of charging. And in terms of DC charging, we have CCS, CHAdeMO, and Tesla has its own kind of chargers. Where I have not described China, that they have their own connectors in DC charging, which is called GP/T. So we'll see what's the mode and level of charging according to SAE and IC terminology. So basically there are total 4 levels of charging, but only 3 are discussed in this one. And in terms of IC terminology, there are 4 modes of charging. Starting with as we go from level 1 to level 3 in SAE system, we could see a higher level of charging, higher power, and the charging length becomes actually slower because level 3 is a fast DC charging, whereas in level 1 and level 2, level 1 is widely used in residential charging inside your garage, outside your house, which gives 120 volt AC, and I believe it gives a 16 amp hour max in terms of amp current. And in level 2, we still have the slowest charging, but it has up to 80 amp hour of charging.
If you're going to have these things at home,
Yeah.
who's going to put the 3 phase
Phase.
in for you?
Yeah, correct. Same goes in like modes of charging as well, including mode 4 as a 600 volt DC super fast charger, where mode 1 is just a single phase, maximum 16 amp hour current. Which is interestingly that IC terminologies are not used in states, and the states terminology are not used in IC. Each of them have prohibited each other in their.
Because they have very different grids.
Yeah.
I mean, the American grid is weird. With transformers sitting up wooden poles
Yeah.
and sockets, which in Europe would be considered dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, moving ahead. So this is a more in detail version of different modes of charging, where we could see different kind of connectors used for different modes of charging, where mode 1 and mode 2 are just general cable which has protection in it, but level 1 is not has any protection and it's unsafe to use in different mode of charging. Whereas in mode 4 we either use a CHAdeMO connector or a CCS, combined charging systems, for public and commercial charging, and it has a high high
I
voltage of
find it quite amusing that they've made them look as if they're
using a petrol.
the
The gas, yeah. But the thing is, in this one, the connector types,
petrol.
yeah, the connector types, as you can see, there are different pins inside inside the whole mechanism, which also states a different, like suppose there will be in CHAdeMO, or let's take type 1S, which is a very famous SAE J1772. The first two are the line pins. The line 1 and the second one is a neutral. The rest three are either control pins, the proximity pin, and the ground pin, where it has.
Well, that's the trouble with the electrical system in North America. They don't have ground really to speak of.
Yeah.
It's all
Like I only see two pins,
yeah.
like coming from
and
India.
they get them the wrong way around every
Yeah.
so often. You know,
Yeah.
but there are 3 pins in Europe.
Yeah. Even in India, we have 3 pins all the time.
Yeah.
Because
Pleased to hear you saying petrol.
petrol. Yeah. In India, we say petrol because we think gas is gaseous. When I came to Canada and I saw.
Well, it's their laziness, isn't it? If they actually articulated it out fully and called it
Gasoline, yeah.
then you'd know what they were talking
You're talking about.
But gas,
Yeah.
you'd think.
Like this was the first time when I went to a petrol gas station in Canada, and my friend was filling the gas. I'm like, "Are you sure this is not gas and this is liquid?" Because there is no what do we say covering.
Could be propane.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, because gas needs something to seal, or it's gonna
Yeah.
just come out. So then he said, "Bro, this is liquid and not actually a gas." I'm like, "Okay, why don't you call it petrol?" Then he said, "Gas is not the right word, it's called gasoline." Oh, why don't we call gasoline instead of gas? It creates a lot of confusion.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was first here, I actually asked somebody where the nearest garbage dump was. And they didn't understand that. No, rubbish dump. I said, "Where's the nearest rubbish dump?" And they didn't have an idea what I was talking about, so I thought, garbage depot.
Garbage depot. Like, okay. This is funny actually. Like we call it trash and or garbage, or not rubbish. So rubbish is something which like a person would say, and we say it's rubbish.
Yeah,
You were saying what it's.
where we would too, but that's because
Yeah.
rubbish is things that you throw away.
Anyway, getting back to connect.
But
to
yeah,
types.
we have to understand America, but they don't bother and try to understand us. So instead of a lift, it's an elevator,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they number the floors differently.
Differently, yeah. I'm like, I want to go to ground floor, and it takes me to basement. I'm like, I'm gonna wanna go to basement. I'm gonna go to level 1. That's what. Even like when I went to this theater, it's a big theater near the Redo something, and it has many keys and mezzanine. And
National Arts Centre.
Yeah, International Arts Center. I went there to see a sitar performance, an Indian classical daughter of an maestro. So I'm like, what's mezzanine and what's like there were different terminologies for that. Anyways, going back to our DC connectors, recently we use in major the charging station, we either have the CHAdeMO type DC connectors. In Europe, we have the CCS1, which is a combined charging system, which provides AC charging and DC charging at the same time. And in States, we have CCS2, which is same the common charging system, but they have different orientation for the pins. So I sometimes think about if my EV goes from Europe to States, it's gonna be a trouble. That's why we have like Tesla has come up with their own kind of chargers where they are universal everywhere, and that's the reason why Tesla is the global EV.
Are they universal?
No, they are not universal, but they wanted to create a market where people will buy their own charger, their Tesla vehicles, and they will be able to use Tesla charging station anywhere, because this will be.
That's going to have problems. That's going to be like Apple tried to have its C connector.
Yeah, it's just like the C connector and the iPhone connector. Everybody has now settled for the C-type connection.
I mean, you can get de facto standards just because they dominate the market.
Yeah, that's the reason why Tesla it's gonna dominate the market. Well, they started the thing, so they're like, we're gonna stay in the market, having our own type of connectors. I have not mentioned the Chinese connectors because in China you can only find either a GBT style or a Tesla connector. Tesla connectors can be found everywhere, but it's hard to find a type 1, type 2 connectors nowadays in the market, if the car is quite old. Coming to the next segment, there are various type of charging methods, which is constant current, constant volt. Well, it's quite a big, so I will go directly to.
My goodness, constant current.
Yeah, then we have
But
trickle.
what if you connect yourself across it?
That's gonna be. First of all, it's gonna trip.
It must have trips. Yeah.
First thing, it will trip and hurt you badly. I don't think so. It will hurt badly because it's the way now. The moment it reaches the current spikes, it's gonna trip. I believe so. It's gonna connect to the ground.
Yeah. I was just thinking that if it was a true constant current, when it's open circuit, you'd have an infinite voltage.
Yeah. Correct. So there are different kinds of charging, which I have summarized in this whole image, where we can see the constant charging. So now the charging methods only apply to some kind of batteries, where lithium ion has topped all kind of charging methods, whether it's constant current, constant voltage, is it trickle, or 5-step charging, pulse charging. But the problem is that if we use a certain kind of charging, suppose boost charging or the pulse charging or the 5-step charging, it's gonna hurt the battery much because it's a fast charging method, and whenever we try to charge the empty cell to full
that's the problem, isn't it? People want to refuel as quickly as they did with
the gasoline. Yeah. Yes.
And that is, that's going to damage the batteries.
Yes. So the main future scope for like batteries and connectors is finding a win-win situation, an optimal point where we could charge the batteries with not hurting the batteries faster.
I mean, relative to the speed of development of other electronics, battery technology has been effectively almost stationary.
Yeah, that's true. Like back in my company,
it's the weakest link.
Yeah. But right now, people are coming up, like there is a rumor that solid state batteries would be the next generation of batteries, but it still has some limitations.
Huge capacitors.
Yeah.
Nanotechnology.
Yeah. But it's gonna cost the car way more expensive. Like you're not buying a rocket, it's just a normal car. So it's like still in progress. What could be the future scope of batteries and charge? Because this is the main thing which makes EV an EV.
Yeah.
So right now we are using lithium ion or LFPs. I had a LFP battery which had a high charging density and it was quite safe than lithium ion, because lithium ion is known for its explosive nature at certain temperature and state of charging. So well, it's a rare case. I've never encountered that, but I've seen videos. I've known people whose battery exploded and started to fume up.
The trouble is, lithium is quite a rare metal.
Yeah.
quite a renewable solution.
Right.
I think there's some effort into trying to somehow recycle lithium batteries. I don't know how successful that is.
But instead of like, there's one more scope. Instead of using batteries inside the car, we can also, like, India has implemented mixing of ethanol with their normal, a 10% mix of ethanol in normal petrol. So I believe that's being more, because ethanol comes from sugar. They process it from sugar, so it's still
Biofuels.
biofuels. Yes, I was also gonna research
that
about.
doesn't solve anything either. After the telecommunications bust, which was created by multiple factors, one of which was venture capitalist companies, injecting loads of money for companies that and making companies that could have survived be ready for being sold to a bigger company, and it created an artificial market.
Yeah.
And so after that, they wouldn't invest at all in any high-tech company. They decided it was biofuels was the next thing for venture capitalists.
Yes. Yeah.
And all that's going to do is allow America to carry on guzzling fuel. And you're still generating carbon dioxide, aren't you?
Yeah.
By burning it.
By burning.
And you're actually helping make more people on the planet starve.
Right. Because you're using biofuel.
Yeah, because you're committing land to another use than food. Okay. So, what's that got to do with semiconductors?
Sorry?
What does your project have to do with semiconductors? I'm sure I must have commented on that
Yeah.
when you first proposed it.
Yeah. No. I was like, I'm taking a survey regarding how it's gonna in the survey I'm gonna check how BMS is gonna affect the charging states and the car charging modes to the electric vehicle.
Yeah. But when I describe term papers, apart from saying it's a work of scholarship, I did use the word broadly relates to the course. The course is about semiconductors, so it doesn't matter. But
I'll try to stick to because when I started researching or do the literature review, it was for the batteries and the charging types. I was thinking like how could we make this relatable to the course, but when I get into like deep research, I'm like, okay, I need to know more. It's the curiosity which kept the course section.
yeah, well, you've effectively done. I did wonder. I mean, it's stretching it even to sort of talk about new battery technologies, but at least you've got charges moving about and carriers.
Yes.
But if you start talking about protocols and standards, sockets and plugs and things, well, there's some charges going around somewhere, I suppose. We'll forgive you. But it doesn't particularly relate to the course.
Right.
Unless it starts having something to do with managing to power data centers or something, or AI. I suppose it will be. I suppose the cars will be autonomous.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Like I tried making a simulation for autonomous vehicles. It's a tough job, but people have done it. So yeah, it's here and there.
Yeah. But, okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh my God, we have used a lot of time.
What's the time?
It's 2:22.
Okay, we'll get the other thing quickly.
I'll call the next crew. सो फाइनली हम लोगों ने दे दिया है, मतलब मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन दे दी है एंड साथ में इतनी सारी बुक्स भी मिल चुकी है और प्रोफेसर का फीडबैक अच्छा था, बट प्रोफेसर ने बोला बट वेयर इज द सेमीकंडक्टर पार्ट ऑफ इट. मैंने बोला एवरीथिंग इज कनेक्टेड विद सेमीकंडक्टर्स, लाइक इट्स द बेसिक बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक. फिर बाद में बोला कि I'll forgive you if you include a little bit more of semiconductors. ऐसा बोल के मैंने बोला okay, no problem, or I can include that in my term paper, including some BMSs, architecture. So he's like, okay, thank you for enough time, for your time, and I hope बेस्ट ऑफ लक और ये सब फालतू की बातें बोली. एंड या द प्रेजेंटेशन वाज डन. उसके बाद वी गॉट फ्यू बुक्स एंड उससे पहले प्रेजेंटेशन चालू होने से पहले प्रोफेसर ने इतनी बातें की कि पूछो मत.
Westbound train to Putty's Master is arriving. Please stand away from the platform edge. Attention. Le train en direction ouest de la station Putty's Master s'approche. Éloignez-vous du dormitier.
मैडम का पास चल नहीं रहा. मैडम का पास चल ही नहीं रहा, तो उनको स्टेशन मास्टर ने पकड़ लिया कि भाई क्या अलग सी बकचोदी चल रही तुम्हारी. और हमारी ट्रेन आ चुकी है, विंस्टन इज पहुंच चुकी है. Guys, can we squeeze in a little bit?
Oh, this.
Doors closing. Fermeture des portes. Westbound to Tunny's Pasture.
काफी
Direction west, Tunny's Pasture.
है, बैठने की जगह नहीं मिलेगी.
Next station, Reno. Byward Market. Prochaine station, Reno. Marché by.
तो अभी हम लोग वापस घर आ चुके हैं। आप प्रेजेंटिंग और प्रेजेंटेशन, और मैं थोड़ा सा रोड क्रॉस करूँगा यहाँ से, आसपास देखूँगा कोई आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है। दिस इज़ नॉट सेफ बट या इट इज़ टाइम सेविंग। जैसे कि कोई भी कार नहीं आ रही है तो हम सेफ्टी रोड क्रॉस करेंगे। एंड फाइनली वी आर बैक। स्वीट हाउस और ये बहुत सारी बर्फ, और आ चुके हैं हम लोग हमारे बेड पे। I hope it's open. It's not. That's how we open the safe for the key. It's called a padlock. और इसको हम घुमाएंगे। अब खुल जाना चाहिए। जियोथर्मल एनर्जी गिर चुकी है हमारी। स्मेल तो अच्छी आ रही। लेट्स सी क्या चल रहा है किचन में। खा पी के बैठे इसलिए। आज सुबह सुबह मैंने प्लेट तोड़ दी, कोई बात नहीं। एंड वी आर बैक।